Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into Kamala Harris' potential policy shifts in 2025 and how they could shape the future of America. From healthcare and education to climate change and social justice, we'll break down the key changes and their impact on the nation. If you're curious about the direction America is headed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our updates and in-depth analyses. Let's explore how Harris' leadership could redefine the American landscape in the years ahead. 1. Healthcare reform. Expanding access and affordability. In 2025, Kamala Harris is expected to prioritize expanding healthcare access and affordability, aiming to build on the Affordable Care Act. She could push for policies that increase federal funding to make health insurance more accessible for low- and middle-income families. Her goal would be to reduce the number of uninsured Americans, particularly in states that haven't expanded Medicaid. Harris may advocate for a public option to compete with private insurers and further reduce healthcare costs. She will likely face resistance from conservative lawmakers, making negotiations key to passing any reforms. 2. Climate change action. Accelerating green policies. As climate change becomes an increasingly urgent global issue, Kamala Harris is likely to implement more aggressive environmental policies in 2025. Her administration may push for ambitious climate goals, including achieving net zero emissions by mid-century. She could build on the infrastructure bill passed during the Biden administration, ensuring it includes green energy investments and sustainable infrastructure. Harris may champion legislation that incentivizes clean energy, such as solar and wind, and further tightens regulations on fossil fuel industries. 3. Economic recovery. Tackling inequality and growth. Kamala Harris will likely place economic recovery at the forefront of her 2025 agenda, with an emphasis on reducing income inequality. Her approach could involve strengthening the social safety net through initiatives such as universal basic income trials or expanding child tax credits. She may focus on raising the federal minimum wage to ensure workers earn a living wage in today's economy. Harris might also work to implement policies that target economic opportunities for underrepresented communities, including people of color and rural populations. 4. Criminal justice reform. Reforming the system. Kamala Harris, with her background as a prosecutor, is likely to push for significant changes to America's criminal justice system in 2025. Her policy shifts could focus on addressing systemic racism, reducing mass incarceration, and improving rehabilitation efforts. She may support efforts to decriminalize certain offenses, particularly in areas like drug possession, and push for the reform of sentencing laws. Her administration could seek to reduce the prison population by expanding alternatives to incarceration, such as restorative justice programs and diversion programs for nonviolent offenders. 5. Immigration reform. Creating pathways to citizenship. In 2025, Kamala Harris is expected to push for comprehensive immigration reform that provides a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. Her administration may seek to expand protections for Dreamers, individuals brought to the U.S. as children, and strengthen programs like deferred action for childhood arrivals. Harris will likely advocate for creating a fairer and more efficient immigration process, including clearing the backlog of asylum applications. She might work on policies that offer temporary work permits to undocumented immigrants while they await permanent status. 6. Gun control. Advocating for stricter laws. Kamala Harris' 2025 policy shift will likely involve pushing for stricter gun control laws to combat the ongoing gun violence epidemic in America. Her administration could advocate for universal background checks on all firearm purchases and the closing of loopholes in the current system. Harris might support a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, aiming to reduce the potential for mass shootings. She will likely push for red flag laws that allow law enforcement to temporarily confiscate firearms from individuals deemed a threat to themselves or others. Additionally, Harris might support the implementation of safe storage laws to prevent gun accidents, particularly among children. 7. Foreign policy. Rebuilding global alliances. Kamala Harris is likely to focus on rebuilding and strengthening global alliances in 2025. particularly after years of U.S. isolation under the previous administration. Her foreign policy approach could emphasize multilateralism and re-engagement with international institutions such as the United Nations and NATO. Harris may focus on strengthening partnerships with European allies, while also improving relations with countries in Asia and Africa. Her administration could work toward resolving conflicts in the Middle East through diplomacy and support for democratic movements. Climate change, cybersecurity, and trade will likely be central to her foreign policy agenda, requiring close cooperation with other nations. 8. Education reform, expanding access and equity. In 2025, Kamala Harris is expected to push for education reform with a focus on expanding access to quality education and addressing systemic inequities. She may advocate for free community college tuition and expanded financial aid programs to ensure that higher education is accessible to all. Harris could push for policies that provide universal pre-kindergarten and improve funding for public schools, particularly in underserved areas. Her administration will likely work to close the achievement gap by focusing on improving resources for minority students and supporting teachers with better pay and training. In addition to K-12 education, Harris could focus on addressing student loan debt, potentially supporting measures that forgive loans for low-income graduates or those working in public service. 9. LGBTQ+ rights, advancing equality. Kamala Harris has long been an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, and in 2025, she will likely continue to push for greater equality and protections for the LGBT+ community. Her administration may focus on passing federal legislation to protect LGBTQ+ individuals from discrimination in employment, housing, and healthcare. Harris could advocate for policies that ensure transgender individuals have equal access to healthcare, including gender-affirming treatments. She may work to expand rights for LGBT+ families, including supporting same-sex marriage and adoption rights. The administration might also address the issue of LGBT+ youth homelessness, pushing for increased support systems and safe spaces. 10. Technology and data privacy, regulating big tech. As technology continues to shape every aspect of life, Kamala Harris will likely push for stricter regulations on big tech companies in 2025. Her administration may focus on data privacy laws that give individuals greater control over their personal information. Harris could work to strengthen antitrust regulations, ensuring that large tech companies do not monopolize the market and stifle competition. She may advocate for transparency in algorithms and online platforms to prevent the spread of misinformation and protect democracy. Protecting user privacy, especially in the wake of data breaches, will be a central part of her policy. Thank you for watching our deep dive into Kamala Harris' 2025 policy shifts and how they could reshape America's future. With so many important changes on the horizon, it's clear that her decisions will play a pivotal role in the country's progress. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're always up to date with the latest political developments and policy analysis. We love to hear your thoughts. How do you think her policies will impact America in the years ahead? Leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next video.